thanks. How you going, everybody? Yeah, all right. I can't see anybody. There could be two people out there for all I know. All right, like I said, we've only got a short amount of time, so let's get straight into it. I'm going to tell you basically an overview of what we did when we were making Jetpack Joyride. All right, so quickly about me, I'm CMO at Halfbrick. I work with all the titles. You know, I love day one marketing, so I don't sit there and take a game that somebody's made and market it. You know, I work with the development teams, you know, from day one, helping them create the game that, you know, will be the most successful in the particular platform. And I'm Barry's biggest fan because I created the character, and my middle name is Barry, so that's a great connection we have. A brief history of Barry. He was created when I wrote Age of Zombies, which was a game we originally released like 2 years ago, I think. And he's been through a few kind of iterations, and that was the classic zombie T-Rex that we worked with. Then he became closer to his current form in Monster Dash, which we released mid-2010, which has done very well. But it wasn't until Jetpack Joyride came out that you know, people really started to understand the character, and we inadvertently created this kind of really interesting story arc, which is never really explained. So if I remember, I'll talk about it today. So when we first, the way that this game came about was from Monster Dash. We took Barry and we put him running through a bunch of different monster-related worlds, shooting dudes, picking up stuff, and it was an endless runner game. And you know, to add sort of polish and a lot of different kind of exciting things to mix up the gameplay, we made something called the Machine Gun Jetpack, which was an item that lets you kind of, you know, you've played the Jetpack Joyride, so you know what the Machine Gun Jetpack is. So that's where it came from Monster Dash, if you haven't played that game. And then I'm kind of sitting there at my desk one day, and the guy there is Luke Muscat. I don't know if he's in here right now. He's the lead designer on Fruit Ninja and Jetpack Joyride and Monster Dash. And I remember sitting at my desk one day, and I think I was playing a build of Monster Dash, and he came up and he's like, hey, and he's playing as well. And I said, I can't remember if it was me or him, we said, this could be its own game. And they were like, yeah, totally. And then that was it. We started making it. And that was the first, the one on the left there was the very first prototype. And that's Luke's spelling, shield. And there's obviously on the right is the helicopter game, which you know, was around a while ago on Flash and Facebook and so on and so forth. But yeah, we had the prototype on the left there up and running in a day or so, and it's actually pretty fun. We went, all right, what else can we do with this? And this was one of the first sort of screenshots. You can see some Monster Dash UI in there, and you can see sort of the first iteration of coins, and Barry kind of wearing a hat. I don't know what else is going on there. And then for a long time, nothing happened. I can't exactly remember, but you know, it was kind of being worked on among a few other projects that were happening, a few other deliverables we were doing, and we always had, it was always kind of there, but I remember there being a sort of a chunk of time where nothing really progressed in terms of polish or features, and we went, all right, well, let's kick that off over the next few months. And that was kind of early 2011. So it had started in late 2010 after we had released the update for Monster Dash, which included the Machine Gun Jetpack. And, you know, as I said, you know, I worked with marketing for you know, a long time before these games were released. And, you know, we didn't have a lot of time, so I figured, let's kick this off and let's start spreading the word about this game, because we'd already been able to build this kind of canon around Barry and what he was doing. And you know, this was something that this was one of the, you know, first builds that we ended up showing to the press. It was called Machine Gun Jetpack at the time. You'd click the start button there, and Barry would bust through, smash through the window. He'd run backwards, grab the jetpack, and then you know, fly away. And we had kind of the rough overview of these jetpacks and the items and everything that we've got going here. And it was pretty good. You know, we had a lot of great reception. That was GDC time in 2011. And you we definitely got a lot of great buzz out of that, because at that time we'd really tried to build in a lot of the sort of addictive elements, a lot of the satisfaction, a lot of the polish that's really easy to make, but you really need to have a great team of designers and coders particularly to be able to sort of make that happen. And yeah, we had a lot of great excitement for the game, and we wanted to kick it up a notch. So we actually kept working on the game, kept iterating this stuff, and we took it to a bunch of different conventions, and we were telling people about it, and there were people who knew of Barry Steakfries from Age of Zombies and Monster Dash and wanted to see the next game, so we absolutely had to bring it to them. And we showed them, and everyone basically said, this looks great, this is probably going to be the best game you guys have made. And that was a kind of a long time. I mean, I would say that we probably announced the game a little bit too early, because at the time we were like, okay, this is pretty solid, which was the this version here. We thought, that's pretty solid, but as we were able to sort of get more power in creating the items and the vehicles and all that kind of exciting stuff, that's when we kind of got a bit greedy and got a bit spoiled. We're like, okay, well, let's take a bit more time and make this. And then, we had this awesome idea, so let's do that. So the development took a little bit longer than we wanted, but at the end of the day, we got the product we wanted. And the way that we wanted to do this was, you need to create a position with every game. And Vijay talked about it in the sense that, you need to tell a story. Everything needs to sort of evoke some kind of emotion. And create something where players can really find value and a definitive message. Now, it's interesting in obviously our space, and people talk about, you need to have some great new idea to be able to have success. But not exactly. You need to have an idea, you need to execute on it well, but you need to position it well. Now what that means is how it's viewed in relation to every other comparable product or every other comparable kind of game on your platform of choice. And for Fruit Ninja, I think we definitely created something that was pretty innovative. I didn't see anything beforehand. Apparently, we ripped off a WarioWare game, but I'd never played that, so what are you going to do? But with Fruit Ninja, we definitely did that. With Jetpack Joyride, we were like, okay, well, how can we make this happen? And the message that a few people asked me was, this is an endless runner game. It's a flying game. We've seen sort of stuff like this before. And I said, yeah, but this is going to be the best one that's ever been made. And I had to believe it, and I did believe it. That's what's important. I can't sit there and go, okay, here's a game that is going to be good, I promise, and then I'm like, it's not really, because I don't believe it. I have to. That's where the chain of communication, it continues to sort of, if the game is not good and you're not confident that it's going to be the best in class, then you've got trouble, because the developers may not believe it, and then the marketing team's not going to believe it, and then of course the press aren't going to believe it, and the platform guys aren't going to believe it, and your partners aren't going to, and then it just kind of farts out, and nothing really happens. But Jetpack Joyride, we really wanted to lift off, so to speak. I searched for polish, and it came up with Polish. Whatever. So this is what I was talking about before, when we were at that kind of phase that was probably a good 6 months away from release, and we were like, okay, this is really good, but we just kept getting these super cool things that happened. We're like, okay, we got to polish this game more, and you can see it in the effects that we have in the game. Every kind of item, every explosion has this personality and this excitement to it, and that was really what we wanted to have, because otherwise, again, it would have just been a standard kind of game. This needed to be the best, and this execution and polish was part of that. So we spent a long time on that. We spent months on that, and that includes the menus and the design of the menus and how that flows, and the satisfaction one gets from that, and the level up system. I just remembered I haven't got anything about the leveling system in here. So, all of that is something that creates excitement and fun at all times. And as I said, we were so excited about it, so we had to tell people about it, and we created these developer diaries that we released one after the other on YouTube, and you can check them all out. I won't show them now because they're a couple of minutes each, but each one sort of talked about a different aspect of the game. The vehicles, the kind of meta system in that you can level up and you can earn coins, you can do this, this, and this, and we had a great time filming them, and there was a great response to them. And just by doing that, from a marketing perspective, people say, okay, well, that's a mobile game, but look at all of this stuff. Look at how involved this development process is. This is really something I should take notice of. So it's more than just the message that you're sending. It's how you're sending the message. And of course, this is a Halfbrick game, so we were like, well, it's got to be good. We really wanted to follow up on Fruit Ninja with something huge, and we could obviously leverage the Halfbrick name to say, hey, we've got this next game, and it's going to be something huge, and we're able to do cross promotion and all that great stuff that you're going to hear about a million times at this conference. So I won't talk about that right now, but let it be known that obviously it's easy to get the word out, when you are an established company, but again, that as we've seen a million times in the games industry, unless you're able to follow it up with content, then your brand itself and your company is not going to get that respect. And then, sort of coming up towards release, as I said, we were in the polishing phase, adding all this content, and then at the last minute we were like, okay, machine gun jetpack, it's not happening, because we'd created this system where we had all these different jetpacks. We had the rainbow jetpacks. I think of the next slide. No, never mind. We had rainbow jetpacks, jetpacks that shot cash out, jetpacks that ran on bubbles, and we were like, okay, well, we didn't have as much success with Monster Dash because it was, a little bit more violent, a little bit more, adult-oriented, and hardly at all. But that can sometimes be just enough to not sort of tip it over the edge into like tens of millions of downloads. And so we wanted to sort of pull back on that, and we realized that the first two words that anyone's going to read is machine gun, and maybe not see that as a whole and think, oh, what could that mean? So we kind of took a step back and said, okay, let's make it something different. And I'll tell the same story that Luke told at his last talk, in that we were really struggling, and we were at lunch, and I think I said, what about machine fun jetpack? And we thought it was the best idea ever. We were like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, it totally works, because it's like machine fun, but people will think it means machine gun, and we're like, yeah. And then we went home and slept and came back to work, and Luke came up to my desk, and we both looked at each other, what the fuck were we thinking? Oh my God, that was, and then we were just like, yes, shut it down, different name. So that was kind of a crazy time. And we came up, well, I shouldn't say we, Renal, wherever you are, our CFO, Jetpack Joyride, well done. And we were like, great, that encompasses everything. It's got the alliteration going, it doesn't convey a specific, action, so it's not guns or anything like that, and people from the get-go can pretty much start sort of flying however they want. So that's really where we went with that. And this is the release. I'm going to play this trailer. Hopefully it works and the sound works. This is what we created to launch the game. Nope, there's no sound.
Hang on, we know why.
Can you go just a minute? The sound is not on.
Oh, I can do that.
Now should be sound.
So yeah, that was a trailer we created. Oh, thank you. That was, yeah, we created that with the help from the PRA, People's Republic of Animation, who we have partnered with, and they're in Australia as well. And yeah, it was just to help bring that story of Barry out a bit more. And you know, we had a great time making it, and it shows his humble beginnings as a gramophone salesman. That's why there's a gramophone in the lab. And it did pretty good when it came out. So we were really, again, I was so excited that this game was coming out. I was so excited that it was as quality and as polished as it was. And obviously, the voting public, you know, definitely responded in that way, and we won that thing, which is really good. So we were pretty happy with that. And that thing lights up when you go to actually touch it. When you're about a couple of inches away, it goes bing and lights up on the top. It's amazing.
Oh man, I'm jealous.
Yeah, and it's really heavy. You could just, yeah. And this is the release chart. There's no specific numbers on there, but I believe this is the grossing, so how much money it was making. So at launch, obviously, bam, lots of money, top of the charts. We did really good. And over, you know, a few weeks, it started to decrease. And obviously we realized, okay, well, even with all of our work, it's still not quite as universally accessible as a Fruit Ninja. So it's still probably a little bit too hardcore, but we were still making quite a bit of money. It's dipped a lot, but you know, we're talking the top is the very top, and the bottom is you know, still kind of at the top. But anyway, sorry, I should mention also that comes from the paid downloads. We released it at 99 cents and included in-app purchase in that. That spike halfway through is when we made it free. So basically, as you can see, we tripled or quadrupled our revenue when we made it free because of the in-app purchase. One thing we didn't do is change anything. The in-app purchase system was identical, and all the content was identical. We just switched it to free. So we didn't, you know, start hassling people about it or anything. So we were really validated that the design of that shop and the coin collecting was extremely fluid and part of the core experience. Yeah, and we made it on December 19th, 2011, which means that on Christmas Day we did pretty good. And after that, we supported the game. You know, this is some fan art that someone brought in, obviously Mr. Cuddles, the fire-breathing dragon that is created. So everybody loves unlocking stuff, and everybody loves trying new jetpacks and trying new vehicles, and that's exactly what we did. And we've supported it as much as we possibly could since that release, and we'll be able to support it, you know, for the foreseeable future as well. So our latest update that we made. Oh, and see, these are some concepts of jetpacks that you might see sometime down the line. We're kind of messing around with a few things. I love number 2, the kittens and dogs jetpack. I don't know. Because we can, the whole game was designed to be, you know, malleable and completely extensible, and there was nothing we really couldn't try. But the core system and the core physics and the gameplay loop, that's extremely tight, so that when that is there, you can start plugging in things and it won't really change it too much, and it'll enhance it and not detract from it. And of course, we released the gadgets update recently, which was the most difficult implementation because it did change the way that the game would work, in the sense that, you know, gadgets, you know, increase some abilities, and we had to look at the balance of the game and think, okay, well, is this going to break something? Is this going to make the game too easy or too hard? And there's 15 gadgets in there, and that was a pretty big job, and that took months. But the guys did a really good job, and that there is Flash, a little robot dog who's Barry's best friend, and he'll come along with you, collect coins, and do a heap of fun stuff with you. And for the future, I think we're almost out of time, right?
Yeah, you got about 1 minute.
1 minute, all right. So for the future, you know, we've had a great reception for the Barryverse, I call it, the universe around him. And I will actually say that for those of you who have played all 3 games, they've actually gone backwards in chronological order. So Jetpack's the first one, where he finds the jetpack, and he steals it and goes off to have further adventures. The next one is he's in Monster Dash, so the jetpack is out there and he's still running, but he's along the ground. He has to collect it back up again. And Age of Zombies is where he arrives at the lab that he's been running to that whole time, and then travels through time. And Legitimate Research is the research company that owns the lab. So we're gonna explore, the story of that and how Barry interacts with it, and how we can really make Jetpack Joyride into more than just a one-touch game, because we love the fact that it is so simple and so casual, but we're trying to massage these elements into it, because we think there's a lot of great value there, and a lot of future in that. So that's what we're working on. I don't have any specific announcements for you right now, but they will be coming soon. So yeah, very short and sweet. I could have gone on for hours, but any further questions, hit me up, or if we have time for questions now, I can do that.
We have time for one. I don't see, oh, way over there.
I can't see what, yeah.
So with such a success like Fruit Ninja, it seemed like that initial response was just, hey, these are the guys that made Fruit Ninja. It didn't matter what you put out. Did it seem to be that Jetpack Joyride became its own when you made it free? Was that a big turning point for you guys in your monetization of your games? Yeah, so
that's a very good question. I would expect that anything we released after Fruit Ninja would have been relatively successful, even if it was really crappy. Simply because, but people would have caught on real quick. So it would have been successful and then died. So that's why we needed to make sure that quality bar was there. What it did when we changed it to free was, we'd had a lot of success as a paid game. We'd done 1 or 2 million downloads as a paid game straight up within the first couple of weeks or months or whatever before we made it free. And so it had that premium perception. It was like, wow, this is a great game. There's a lot of value there, and it's worth 99 cents. And then we changed it to free. It wasn't like any other game that got released as free. It wasn't like, oh yeah, it's another free game. This was, whoa, this is great value. I want to check this out. And Jetpack Joyride, I've heard all about it, but sometimes haven't got it. So free is definitely when we've gone from 1 to 2 million up to 35 million, I think now. Which has been really great. So it's helped us reach a much broader audience, but it's still retained, as I said, we didn't change anything, so it's still retained, still retain that level of quality, if not improved, because we've added to it after it's gone free. And yeah, monetization did really well. I mean, we'd never done in-app purchase or anything before that, but we made it work, and we spent a long time sort of working on that system, and we got it pretty right.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, everybody.